Hey, I'm Steve Creech. I'm going to dive into our Safety from 2021 review here at COBS. If you don't know me, I'm Safety Manager and the Training Manager here at COBS. Currently, I'm also in the Interim Safety Director role. And basically what we want to do, we want to create a little bit of space for people to be able to learn a little bit more about what happened in the past year. And then next month, we'll be looking forward to what our safety priorities for the upcoming year will be. A lot of what I'm going to talk about today are the things that helped us to prioritize those things for next year. So in 2021, we served almost 600 students, almost 13,000 SPDs. That was about 40% of the total number of students we served in 2019, but it was also about 75% of the SPDs that we served in 2019. So how do we end up serving 3/4 of the SPDs with less than half the students? So you can see in the graph here, the difference in percentages resulted from average course lengths being twice to 2.5 times longer than average course lengths over the previous decade. We did this as a way to mitigate COVID, to give students a good amount of course when they could be in a family unit. But we also know that the extended average length of course, that has an impact on staff. You get to teach more, you get to travel further, you get to connect more with each individual crew, but it also means less warm fuzzies because of less pin ceremonies. It means you need more time to recover between courses. This rate in 2022, it's still going to be higher than the historic numbers, but we are definitely adding in shorter courses this upcoming summer, be able to meet staff with where they're at with people who want shorter courses or need them as part of their staffing plan. So we had a relatively high incident rate per 10 student rate. So this is roughly a crew is the way you could think about that. And that makes sense given that students were on course 2 to 2.5 times longer than ever before. But the last 2 years have also been our 2 lowest incident rates per student program day. So it seems a little paradoxical. And I'll explain that a little bit. This year, the majority, 55% of our incidents were psychosocial. Psychosocial is a catch-all term that OBUSA is using to capture motivation, behavior, mental health issues, all of those things which tend to overlap with each other. Since psychosocial incidents tend to cluster in the first week of course, the longer the course is, the lower the overall rate we could expect to be. So that kind of makes sense that we are in line with some of the lowest rates that we've ever had. So that's excellent. So why am I talking about any of this from this slide or the last? I think they're both valuable lenses to be able to view this data. So we're about to look at rates, some of which were the lowest ever, some which were among the highest. And I think that this average course length is one of the drivers for why we're seeing things in such extremes in 2021. And also a reminder to just take everything with a grain of salt. We're seeking to learn from this, try and find emerging trends, but we're also not trying to rest on our laurels, let amazing numbers just lull us into complacency. So here is just a view of our annual student incident rates, and I'll just kind of scroll across them. The darkest blue, the one on the right in each one of these trends, is the 2021 compared to 2018 and 2019. So I'll just kind of zoom out and leave this here. If you want to pause, you can look at it more, but I'm going to keep on moving ahead. So as you can see, 2021 had our lowest injuries rates on record. It had our lowest illness rates on record. Injuries were 77% lower than average. That's amazing. Illnesses were 40% below average. That's amazing. This comes from exceptional work in the field. Staff really caring for students and taking care of these things. It also comes from intentionally conservative itinerary writing from the program managers, from the APDs, to meet a staff who frankly just hadn't worked in the course areas for the past year, and overall just had less institutional experience than maybe we had had in the past. We also knew that students were coming with higher psychosocial needs, so we wanted to just align itineraries to meet the students where they were at. We also reduced time between resupplies, which probably also impacted overuse and strain injuries because we had lighter pack weights. Illnesses, Also probably informed by those heightened hygiene practices, probably also informed by wearing masks and socially distancing for those first 5 days. That definitely probably reduced the spread of communicable illnesses. We also saw altitude sickness rates in the Rocky Mountain program being significantly lower than in any past years. We only had one incident in all of 2021. That's amazing. This is probably a result of the majority of courses in the Rocky Mountain program either starting just outside of Buena Vista or being on base camp for the first 5 days. And we'll also see that that's a little bit of a double-edged sword. So while the 5-day course start on base might have reduced altitude sickness, early departures for psychosocial reasons was significantly higher. Students who started on base left course in the first 5 days for psychosocial reasons at a rate approximately twice as high as students with field-based starts. So some things that we're looking to address this with in 2022 are higher staff to student ratios at course start, in-person ed and leadership trainings to give more of those in-between moment, kind of those tools, and also give resources designed to add activity, belonging, fun, meaning to that time on base, and potentially reducing that time on base in 2022. So we'll see. So the lowest medical incident rates on record also gave the program team some capacity to manage what ended up being the third highest psychosocial incident rate for the last year. Psychosocial incidents accounted for almost 90% of our early departures, and this is big. It's an emerging trend. It's not just at COBS. It's not just with our students. The United States Surgeon General also, he declared an emerging youth mental health crisis at the national level. That is something that we want to be able to be part of the solution on. We're going to focus on this issue in 2022. You'll see that in the next video when we talk about our annual safety priorities. To be able to, we really want to set up students so they're in positive resilience building behaviors, as well as just resource staff so that they can better respond. One area of particular psychosocial concern was a spike in mental health challenges. So we've already done a lot of significant work and we just keep on planning to do more. We also know that we have got a lot of room for growth to serve our BIPOC, our non-binary, our transgender students, who we also saw leaving course at a higher early departure rate. And you'll see those coming up in safety priorities for 2022. So after looking at the data from last year, like I said, I want to take it with a grain of salt and realize that the most important things we can do for safety is to continually know what the most pressing concerns are for the people who are actually doing the work, you. If you have a safety concern that you've noticed over the last year or just your entire time at COBS, it could be physical, it could be emotional, it could be psychological, could be equity and inclusion. Any of these types of safety concerns that you have, I want to really encourage you to follow this QR code to a form and submit it. It's an optionally anonymous way to submit concerns. They'll automatically send an email to myself, to Lauren, the executive director, to Jeanette in HR, so that we can make sure that we come up with a plan to be able to respond to whatever those concerns are. I'll also post a link to this for people who maybe don't use a smartphone down in the notes below. We're here to learn and really thank you for helping us to learn how we can better support you. So, like I said, in the next video, we're going to talk about the main school-wide safety priorities for 2022. We took a lot of that from the learnings that we got from 2021. We've got some exciting things we're working on. In the meantime, if you've got any questions, feel free to shoot me an email, safety@cobs.org or screech@cobs.org. Either one comes to me. And I look forward to hearing from you and look forward to being able to have students out in the field again coming up in just a couple months. In the meantime, I hope you're getting out on some amazing winter adventures and making really good connections within your communities. And I'll see you soon. Thanks a lot.